Princess Diana. On August 31st, 1997, Princess Diana left the Ritz Hotel in Paris with her partner Dodi Al-Fayed. It was just after midnight when they got into a black Mercedes-Benz S280 driven by Henry Paul. Paparazzi followed them closely on motorcycles and in cars as they pulled away. Moments later, as the car entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel at high speed, it lost control and slammed into a concrete pillar. The crash was violent. Dodi Al-Fayed and Henry Paul were killed instantly. Diana survived the impact. When first responders arrived, they found her still alive in the back seat. She was conscious, her head resting against the seat in front of her. According to fireman Xavier Gourmelon, who was among the first on the scene, she looked at him and asked, "Oh my God, what has happened?" Her injuries were catastrophic, but not immediately fatal. The crash had torn her pulmonary vein near the heart, causing massive internal bleeding. From the outside, she appeared shaken but not beyond help. Inside, her body was shutting down. Rescuers worked frantically to stabilize her. She was placed on a stretcher and taken out of the tunnel, still breathing, still aware. In the ambulance, medics tried to control the bleeding and keep her heart beating. For nearly an hour she fought, slipping in and out of consciousness, her body failing from the hidden damage. At 4 a.m., in the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital, Princess Diana went into cardiac arrest. Doctors opened her chest to try to repair the torn vein, but the injury was too severe. Despite desperate attempts, they could not save her. She was declared dead at 4:53 a.m. News of Diana's death spread around the world within hours. Millions refused to believe it at first, hoping the reports were wrong. In the days that followed, tens of thousands of people brought flowers and letters to Kensington Palace. Her funeral on September 6th was watched by an estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide, one of the largest television audiences in history. For many, it was not just the loss of a princess, but the loss of someone they saw as a symbol of compassion and humanity. Paul Walker. On November 30th, 2013, fans around the world were shocked by the sudden death of Paul Walker, the 40-year-old actor best known for his role in the Fast and Furious films. Walker had built his career playing a man who lived for speed, someone who always came out of a crash untouched. That afternoon, Walker attended a charity event in Santa Clarita, California. He stepped into a red Porsche Carrera GT driven by his friend Roger Rodas. The Carrera GT was a rare car, only about 1,200 were ever built, and it had a reputation for being extremely difficult to control. It demanded perfection from its driver. Any mistake at high speed could mean disaster. Around 3:30 p.m., the Porsche accelerated down a quiet street. Witnesses later said the car was traveling over 90 miles per hour. Just seconds later, it lost control, struck a curb, then a tree, and finally a lamppost. The impact ripped the car apart and immediately sparked a fire. At first, many assumed Walker died instantly on impact, but the coroner's report told a more disturbing truth. The collision broke bones and caused trauma, but it wasn't fatal. Paul Walker was alive after the crash. He was strapped into the passenger seat, conscious but trapped, as flames spread rapidly through the wreck. The autopsy showed he suffered burns to his body and smoke particles were found in his airway, clear signs that he was still breathing when the fire started. The heat became unbearable within moments. The smoke filled the cabin, making every breath agonizing. He fought for air as the flames closed in, but there was no escape. The seatbelt that had saved him from being thrown out now became the reason he couldn't get free. It took only a minute for the Porsche to become an inferno. When first responders arrived, the fire was too strong to approach. Witnesses could only watch helplessly as he was trapped inside the burning car. Paul Walker died from a combination of traumatic injuries and burns. The news spread instantly across the world. Fans mourned not just the loss of a movie star, but the cruel irony of how he died. Paul Walker spent his career portraying invincibility on screen, but his real death was slow and impossible to escape. Ryan Dunn. On June 20th, 2011, the quiet roads of West Goshen Township, Pennsylvania, became the scene of one of the most shocking car crashes of the decade. Behind the wheel was Ryan Dunn, a 34-year-old stunt performer best known for his appearances on the television show Jackass. Dunn had built a reputation as someone who constantly pushed the limits of safety, often risking his body for stunts that blended comedy with real danger. But this time, it was no act. At around 3:30 a.m., Dunn was driving his Porsche 911 GT3. Investigators later confirmed he was moving at an extreme speed, estimated at over 130 miles per hour. His passenger was Zachary Hartwell, a 30-year-old friend and former Navy veteran. On a stretch of Route 322, Dunn lost control. The car left the road, crashed through a guardrail, and slammed head-on into a tree. The impact was so violent that it tore the car apart. Within seconds, the wreckage burst into flames. The autopsy report later revealed that neither man died immediately on impact. Both sustained major blunt force trauma, but there were also signs of thermal injuries. That meant they were alive, if only for moments, as fire engulfed the remains of the Porsche. Witnesses who arrived at the scene saw a fireball so intense that it was impossible to get close. First responders were met with a vehicle already consumed by flames, making any rescue attempt impossible. He died not instantly, but in the chaos of fire and impact, with no escape. His passenger shared the same fate. News of the accident spread instantly across the world.